So for this semester, the project we got is of mass housing. So it is a dwelling where all the basic facilities and entertainment sectors are embedded for a particular group of the society. The literature case study we chose is the worldwide heard project, the Aranya housing. This project is all over renowned by this famous entity, that is by Sir Balkrishna V Doshi, where the Indore Development Authority wanted to create a housing scheme for the people of every group, that is from EWS to HIG. The land is around 210 acres with 6,500 units and amenities. This project is eminent because of its affordable housing scheme and design methodology. So few of the freedoms and limitations faced by the architect during the analysis or design procedure. As Aranya was located outside of the Indore city congestion, it gave a maximum liberation to make a huge number of dwelling units and gets to develop an incremental housing and public participations. On the other hand of the coin, the arrangement for the mortgage weren't developed as it was outside the city area. Doshi still enjoyed the process of his curiosity to get into the lives of the people and design as per their needs and their fellow feelings. He also dug upon the different local materials and changed the definition of slum into an organization of habitats. So, as back in 1989, when this project got in run, some groups of different beliefs didn't felt their comfort in this vicinity and stick to the point of letting to move on to the other areas or something like that. But now, as per the facilities and convenience and functionality of this project, all of the beliefs are residing together and making a community out of their own. So thanks to BV Doshi sir for this wonderful design scheme. Now Janvi will continue.
The site is located at Vijayanagar, Indore, Madhya Pradesh. The site is 6 kilometers away from the city center. Some geographical features of the site are a natural water channel running diagonally across the southwest corner of the site. The site is located at a flat land, but the site is gradually sloping towards the northwest corner. The soil at the site is black cotton soil, which is up to 2 to 2.5 meter thick. Next slide. Landscape and green areas include flowering and shade-giving trees with thick ground cover, including the evergreen trees that requires little maintenance. The climatic analysis. The climate here is composite climate. In winters, the winter is cool and dry, which changes to hot and dry during the summers. Topography was used for infrastructure network and organization. Most of the plot are small in size and clustered in low-rise block. Also, the houses were orientated in north-south direction, residing the heat exposure. Longer side facade orientated in north-south axis to reduce the solar radiation on the building. The opening on the north-south direction of the structure allows the natural light to come in and also to help in cross ventilation. Courtyards and most of the activity spaces within the houses were shaded by adjacent building. Next slide. Each house has minimum exposure to wall, which helps in reducing heat gain during the summers. The street remains half shaded, which helps to reduce the heat gain and provide shades. The opening at the front and back of the houses help for natural light ventilation and airflow. Material use of concrete piles for footing. Locally available material like bricks and stones were widely used. Use of jalis were done in the houses. Uh, Next slide. The site plan. The surrounding of the site includes a school, a river, a garden, and a market. The site is 8 kilometers away from the railway station and 14 kilometers away from the airport. Over to you, Sanskruti.
The vehicular and pedestrian circulation. These are the plans that shows the hierarchy of roads. The different color of roads represent the different width of roads. The 16-meter wide highway on right side, the 13-meter wide road surrounded on three sides of side, Then each sector surrounded by 12-meter wide road. The 9-meter road further divided the sector into small clusters of EWS, LIGs, MIGs and HIGs. Also we can see the vehicular access in rectilinear roads, the pedestrian access in form of informal interlinked space. Uh, Next, these are some images of informal pedestrian pathways. Also, we can see there is no separate space for the parking. The map shows the segregation of vehicular and pedestrian pathways. Over to you, Pune.
Yes, I will be explaining about hierarchy and connectivity. In these images, we can see the community public spaces have even distribution of spaces. In the plan, we see that we see road connection. Sector road connected to central road and central road is further segregated into 2 points for traffic reduction. Uh, in last image, we can see the distance uh, of various spaces for the residential space. Wo- Workspace is near to home, then followed by central square, green space, commercial center, work field, and industries. Next slide. Uh, in this slide, we can I explain zoning and distribution of spaces. In site plan, we see that the most of the area is in semi-private zone, which is residential area, and other is in semi-public zone. Now we are trying to study the distribution of area as per income and spaces. As per income, most of the area dedicated to EWS and MIG, and 11% to LIG and 9% to HIG. Then the site distribution uh, is like that most of the area is residential, then 25% to circulation, 8% to open space and 7% to commercial area. Also we are trying to study the space distribution of each type of tenement, so we can see the hierarchy in the planning of each tenement. Next slide.
Okay. So now the six weapons, that is vitality, imageability, equity, efficiency, flexibility, and feasibility, runs with one meaning, and that is comfort. Comfort. So that is to make a place which uses natural materials and create a sense of a supporting and caring community. So it is like the design must be by the people, for the people, and of the people. Next slide, Ritika. Okay. So BV Doshi got an onto the track of making incremental cluster theme. So meaning making a simple form as seen in the number, like image number one. So simple form gets developed by adding blocks of the spaces and making them into 1 to 2 story structure. So in the next second and third image, we can see that Doshi provided a set of templates to the users to choose different railings, doors, facade, chajjas, and staircase styles. Then the template impressions given depicts the Indian traditional style railings and also the elevation with a mix of traditional and unique style. Next slide. Yes. Now, coming to the township planning, the whole plot has four entrance way as it is an angular kind of rectangle of which there is an highway to the east and main roads on the north and south side. The area contains industries of around 1.85 acres spaces. So, and lastly, in the rear image, build form. and open spaces are highlighted for ease of understanding. Next slide, Ritika. Okay, now here is an evolutionary step of the segregation of roads and buildings. Firstly, the basic grid pattern was ensured. The twisted roads were incorporated to stagger the traffic. In the third stage, to get onto the benefits of skyography, the more rectification were done on the orientation of the built-ups, and lastly, the final output was the interlinkage of amenities to each and every dwellings community. Next slide. Now, here is an alternatives of scattering patterns of amenities. As mentioned in earlier slides, like how the built-ups and roads were distributed, the same here is as well. So, in the first alternative, there is an formal organization. Then the next comes an informality, where the access is improved, and in the conclusion, there it got broader, we can say broader in the sense of pedestrian routes, and more shorter distance are developed to the amenities. Next slide. Yes. Now, as seen in this slide, the allotment of EWS, LIG, MIG, and HIG is done on these 6 sectors, which are formed as per the hierarchy developed from the last slide. The central core or spine consists of shopping and office complexes, then along with the ground or stadium, and the next image shows the group settlement in each sector along with their respected percentage. Next slide. Okay. Now this gives a broader vision to the eyes by depicting the actual allocation of the green spaces, commercial and the residential areas, and in which the detailed land use analysis of each of this is done in the form of their areas in acres. Yes, over to Ritika.
So the house basically consists of veranda, a room, kitchen, and the service core toilet and the bathroom. The types only differ by the number of floors and the types of the stairs. These small units are then exemplified to a 10 units cluster, which makes a courtyard for this cluster. The rarer image of the plan shows the detailed cluster layout, and the other right side image has a view of isometric, which demonstrates the steps of creating a cluster housing pattern. As mentioned earlier, this is a house cluster of EWS unit looks like, which has nearly 9 to 10 tenements each. In the elevation, the more authentic, the more it got related to the community. As people got the freedom to choose different colors, the basic hue was of terracotta type of color, as observed. The use of perforations in the facade, different levels, use of false facade for the entrance to the cluster, and angled walls gives a realistic and harmonious feel in wholesome. The buildings merely deducted the white color just for the drawback of dirt, so the color chose is narangi, that is orange color, which resembles the first strap of the Indian flag. Also, people with much higher income gets their own space where they can have vegetations and live more comfortably. Locally available trees are commented on the site, and wherever a dead space aka cul-de-sac cluster was created, it was beautifully utilized by a tree. There are also public squares, pathways, and service lots where we can see green spaces. Over to Ritik.
Services. The services provided in Aranya housing project are cost effective and these services can be further developed according to the time. One of the services was as such that the houses were built by owner themselves according to their need. Further, with each plot of house having water tank, sewer connection, paved road or walkway with lighting like avenue plantation and storm water drainage. A cluster of 10 houses formed a group where every two such cluster having a septic tank connection. Next slide. 20 toilets formed from any of houses completing the number given number are connected to one manhole, and at the end all manholes are connected to the last one near to which wet well and lifting station were constructed, and even oxidation ponds which help in disposal of sewage or liquid waste, which helps in further removal of biological oxygen, and was constructed north in the northwest corner of the site. The four houses are connected to single service line like sewer pipelines or drainage water lines or electric lines, etc. In respect to electrical cables, the high and middle community areas housing have the cable line direct from the pole to the house hanging in the mid-air, while the lower community area housing have underground cable line connection. Next slide. Here, in this, we can see the planning of the services or the septic tank connection, manhole connections. The 10 toilets from houses were firstly connected to small inspection chambers connected to the manhole of a septic tank. Here we can see how the arrangement were done. Over to the Bhargavi.
The interior details of Aranya low-cost housing is such that it has walls plastered and painted very well. Required amount of openings are provided from front and back side of the houses for enough amount of natural ventilation. Internal planning is of cozy type with easy circulation. As we can see, the entrance door opens in the living hall, which is further attached to the kitchen and bedroom on either side, and also has common bathroom and WC. From the observation of the planning, we can see that they have given different type of staircase to different block. Uh, to the block number 2, there is a dog-leg staircase. For the block number 1, we can see the L-shaped staircase, and for the block number 4, they have provided the spiral staircase. And the other most important thing we can observe that the red part which they have given is the plumbing part where the bathroom and WC they have provided. They have provided it nearby so that it will be easy to take out the pipelines. Next slide. Yes, here are the basic construction details. To start the development, they have built some 80 model houses. The foundation type which they have used in this is under rimmed piles in concrete cast in situ. They have used this foundation type as the soil was black cotton soil, and even there are many advantages of this footing, like it's 15 to 20% cheaper than strip footing, and even less material is required. And digging is normal, so its work can be carried out in any time of the year. And the other structural members which are included in the construction are like reinforced concrete plinth beams, load-bearing brick walls, and the reinforced concrete slab at the top. Next slide. Yeah, the exterior finishes. Uh, they have used bright colors in their exterior, as we can see in the left side picture. And on the right side picture, we can see they have used railings and grills. And the middle picture we shows the designs of doors and grills, the designs which they used. And the bottom, the bricks picture which we can see, they are the load bearing bricks. And the right side bottom picture shows the wall made up of load bearing bricks. Next slide. Ritika
Yes.
will continue.
Mm-hmm. I'll continue. Yes. So the inner world in the Aranya is something like that. The each dweller has their own identity, since they have to choose and make their house as they are by the use of the color, by their style to choose different elements of structure. And the most important thing is that the place is designed in a such a way that private and social spaces are beautifully arranged, and like shared we can say the shared landings and balconies for interaction purposes. Next slide. Yes. So coming to the inference, every unit was customizable by the users. They can choose the color, the layout, and the other interior elements. Many squares are developed in the project where there are social interactions, and the ones where the country yards lack enough space are used for the toilet ventilators. Next slide. Okay, these are some of the recent reviews by the local guides and the users that are appreciating the work of Sir Doshi. Next slide. Lastly, to conclude with, Sir Doshi used material which were easy to access and use. He created spaces for formal and informal interaction like balconies, open stairs, porches, verandas, and common cluster squares. The use of the topographic features helped in the placement of the services. Next slide. From this project, as this is a award winning project, the crucial points can be taken by single meaning, that is keeping in mind that the people's friendliness with the habitat, and the lastly providing the beneficial and thoughtful elements which will help the people to live in a habitable life. Yes, over to Tanvi.
For literature case study, the example which we chose is Vilas Yashwin A apartments. Next. It is located in Sus village, Pune. The project covers an area of about 4 acres wherein there are 4 buildings constructed. There are 1, 2 and 3 BHK apartments available, and in all there are 284 units. The sizes of flats varies from 406 square feet to 893 square feet. These apartments also create schemes for LIC of India. Next. The climate here is hot, semi-arid type of climate, and temperature ranges between 12 to 30 degrees Celsius. The site is a plain land and the soil here is clay with slight stoniness. Next. This is the vegetation map of the project where various variety of trees are planted. On the west side, trees such as Karma, Bakul, Taman, etc. are planted, while on the east side, Kanchan White, Kanchan and Vyavarna trees are planted. The south side consists of Cordia, Pangara and mango trees. The plantations are done throughout the site boundaries, and the architect also mentioned the number of each trees. The visitors' parking is placed below the trees on the west side of the site. Next. These are the names and photos of the trees planted on the site. This vegetation is used because it has a good ground cover and gives appropriate shade, and also they are aesthetically pleasing due to their ornamentations. Over to you, Ritika.
So the site is fully rectangular, having an one long length, which makes the designing to look like various sections are formed. The whole surrounding of the site is filled with lush green plots, which makes a plus point for the apartment users to look for scenic beauty. From the north, there is the entrance to the site. The roads circulate all over the periphery of the plot, which makes it easy to park and reverse the vehicles, and a flow gets maintained automatically. At the start of this site, we see a amenity space, then a clubhouse, open area, and lastly a temple, all aligned and clustered in one zone as it is a semi-public area. Then comes the apartments, which has 4 wings or towers, and in which the terraces of some flats are witnessed. Over to Sanskruti.
The vehicular and pedestrian circulation. These images show the entry to the site. There is no separate entry for the pedestrian. Around all apartments, there are roads for vehicular circulation. All apartments have separate parking area. The ground floors are provided for the parking. Both closed and open parking is available. Uh, this is an allotment table for the parking. Also, Also, these are some images of parking areas. Over to you, Jimmy.
Uh, the zoning of the site, most of the area is residential, which is semi-private zone, and amenities in semi-public zone. Then the distribution of spaces, we can see in this figure that 1 BHK have 30% area of living hall, then 25% of bedroom, then kitchen and terrace occupy 20 and 10% area respectively, and lastly 8% area to the toilet. For 2 BHK comfort and compact, the area distribution is same, but in 2 BHK comfort, the area is slightly increased. Next slide, over to Ritika.
Uh, each floor has 6 flats with many pockets and cutouts. So, as to get enough light and ventilation in each area, this floor has now four 2 BHK flats and two 3 BHK flats. Now, in the plan, two dogleg staircases are seen with two lifts, each of different capacities, as seen here that the lift shaft has different dimensions. Then by using the vertical circulation, there is a lobby in front of that which connects to the main lobby, which then gets bifurcated to the flats. The green circles marked are the WC bath spaces and also dry balcony. So as we can see that all these areas are hidden by the ducts formed within and outside of the building, so as to not disturb the elevation by ventilators of these areas. And also for the inspection of the spaces, this idea gets helpful. Next, every living hall is connected with a terrace area. As this apartment has different floors at each level, we can see terrace layout of the below floor or above floors indicated by yellow hatch. Lastly, every bedrooms are well lit, containing attached toilets and tidy and study areas. These are the respected BHK plans. The main difference between the two BHK comfort and compact plan is that just a minor difference in the bedrooms and terraces dimensions. The comfort one has a greater area as compared to the compact 2 BHK plan. These are the cross sections where the section AA is cut horizontally, showing different levels of the clubhouse and the towers too. The DD, CC, and BB sections are cut vertically of the towers. This is the zoom plan of the clubhouse, which has multipurpose hall, children's play area, gym, and open lawn space. These are the images of the clubhouse, multipurpose hall, and playground. Over to Bhargavi.
The interior details. Spaces are used more efficiently. There are no dead spaces. They have provided big windows and balconies for natural sunlight and natural ventilation. Spaces are arranged in such a manner that various functions can be carried out in those spaces. We can say multifunctional. And proper use of spaces is seen with spacious planning. As we can see in both the plans, entry is from the lobby, which opens in the living hall, and then straight away there is a bedroom on either side of the living hall, and there is a terrace and kitchen. The only difference between the 1 BHK and 2 BHK is such that the only dining is given extra, and as it is a 2 BHK, there are two bedrooms. Other almost many things are same. Next slide. The materials which they used in their interiors are like the inner walls are painted with oil bound distemper. They has gypsum finish, and the ceiling has POP. Acrylic paint is used on the external walls, and the tiles which they used are vitrified tiles with 3-inch skirting. Kitchen materials which they used are Granite they have used on the platform, and above that platform they have provided a 3 feet glazed tiles, and they have also given a dry terrace attached to the kitchen. Other amenities and features which are there in the apartments are many electrical points they have provided, also have some power points, and all the doors are laminated from both the sides. The windows are like 3 track with a granite sills from inside. Other facilities which they have given are like rainwater harvesting and proper plumbing with water treatment plants. Next slide.
The construction details: apartment having strong RCC structure with 2 MRL lifts. The apartment having rainwater harvesting plant and water treatment plant. Also, they use autoclave aerated concrete block for a walls, which is lightweight precast and foam concrete material which prevents pollution and soil erosion. For flooring, they use vitrified tiles, and for balcony and toilet, they use anti-skid tiles. They mostly focused on reduction of pollution and environment friendly structure. Over to Ritik.
Next slide. Services. The services in the apartment are given such as this apartment has a water treatment plant constructed beside amenity space in which the flushed water gets treated. The plumbing system provided is such that it helps in conservation of water. Further, the flush valves provided in toilets are so that it helps in saving water. 2 lifts and 2 staircases are provided in every wing. The road for vehicles and the pedestrian path have the row of lighting just like avenue plantation. A rainwater harvesting system is provided in which the underground water tank is constructed behind first wing. Further, half the portion of it is used for the fire accident purposes. A common water tank is constructed on a terrace of every apartment or wing. Next slide. A vermicomposting is done in a vermicomposting service is done here in such a way that it is done in a smart way, in which the biodegradable waste are dumped in a mechanical composter machine, in which spinning and churning is done to reduce it in small matter. Then this matter is mixed and churned with the sawdust to deodorize it. Then churning is done in curing drum. Here we can see the image of curing drum. Further, the matter is taken for the screening, and after 18 days, the compost is ready for the use. Next slide. Here we can see the plumbing layout. Transformers are provided in a separate way with the set of diesel engine next to it. Here we can see the pink color block on the top, where we can see the transformers are provided, and beside it is a set of diesel engine machines. We can see the underground water tank beside the transformer, the blue strip, in which half of it is used for the fire accident purposes. And further, here we can see near the entrance along and below the 24-meter wide road, there runs 2 lines. That is, the upper one red line represent municipal drainage line, while the lower one blue line represent municipal storm water line. There are stormwater channels surrounding all the apartments, in which the width of channel changes from 300 mm wide, light blue in color, to 450 mm wide, green in color, to 600 mm wide, dark blue in color. As we go from last apartment or a wing towards the road, thus the channel connected to the municipal water line, which is below the road. This helps in the constant water flow that reaches the municipal water line, so that the from the last apartment to the road it should be possible to reach so that the water could reach the end. Here the legend shows which symbols represent what. Here we can see the legend. That's it. Over to the Yagnesh.
Yeah. Coming to the elevation, elevation presents a repetition vertically and harmony between the pockets created, and also the different towers collaborates with each other and stands tall with a decent and grand appearance. Now also here are the night images that depicts the street lights on the road and enhances the appearance of the apartment at the night time. Next slide. This apartment has 5-star reviews as the design and construction done is brilliant, as there are well ventilated planned landscape area and visitor parkings. The vehicular circulation runs all around the site, which is the entry and exits of the vehicle. But on the other side of the coin, the pedestrian pathways are not such witness, and the residences are a bit away from the amenities. Next slide. As the both projects contrast with each other but has many lessons to be learned, we have enlisted the difference and similarities between both of this. So yeah, Aranya, being an affordable house, has a row duplexes and the amenities are designed as per the target groups. Same goes with the other project, that is Vilas Yashwin, which has different amenities and apartment typology with planned green areas, where the Aranya contradicts to the unplanned green areas, which engages plantations in the pockets of the building. Now moving to the similarities, both the project have one purpose, that is mass housing with central planned interactive places where there are lush green areas with no pedestrian and vehicular path crossings. Now next Kunal and Parth will start with the virtual case study, live case study.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Me and Path going to explain the virtual case study on the project Pride Phoenix by the Pride Group, which is located near uh, airport. Chikaltana MID is from Aurangabad. The total plot area of this site is 2.84 acres. On this site, there are 4 main building blocks like A, B, C, and D. Here we can see the site and the area distribution of the site. Main entrance of the site is easily approachable to the Jalna Road, which is 30-meter wide and which is on the south side. And the secondary entrance is on east side, which is approachable to the 24-meter wide service road. Area of the site is distributed like 53% is covered by the circulating space and the parking, and 20% area is for future expansion, and the central park covered 10% area of the site, and the remaining 17% area of the site is for building blocks. Next slide. Over to the park.
Yes. So as we can see from the left hand side photo, so this is the view from the Jalna road. Then we can see the downwards there is a approach roads which leads us to the entrance part. Then the entrance part gate comprises of a security cabin. On the right hand side of the entrance gate, they have provided visitor parking. Next slide. Yes, so this is the breakdown of how the tenements are placed in each blocks. Like in A, as explained earlier, there are 4 blocks. There are A block, B block, C block, and D block. D block and C block are further divided into 2 parts, like B1, B2, C1, C2. So in A block, we have only 3 BHK tenements. In B block, we have 1 BHK plus study. Then B block, we have 1 BHK plus study. Then in C block, we have only 2 BHKs, and D block is the major block, which comprises 1 BHK, 2 BHK, and 2 BHK plus studies. So all the blocks here are G+7 floor structures, in which the ground floor covers the parking. Then in A, B, C blocks, each floor has 4 tenements. So in total, each block have 28 tenements. As said earlier, the D block is the major block, in which D block have 13 tenements per floor, which equals to 91 tenements. So in overall, we have 231 tenements on site. Next slide. So these are the plans of how the parking is to be done in each block. Next slide, Ritika. Yes, so this is the parking plan of C block and D block. So if we come to the A block plan, yes, next slide. A block plan, they have provided 2 dogleg staircases and 2 lifts to for the vertical circulation. And as we can see, the plan is vertically, horizontally mirrored. Then we have all the 3 BHKs, 8 4 tenements present. Next plan. So these are the sections and elevations of the A block, in which we can see that the floor to floor height of the block is 3 meters. Then as we can also see the ducts and overhead water tanks. Next slide. Yes, so as I said earlier, the B block is divided into 2 parts, B1 and B2, because of which they have given 2 staircases for individual blocks and 1 lift to accommodate vertical circulation. So in which we can see the B block has uh, 4 tenements. Overall, B block has 8 tenements on each floor. Uh, we can see the photo of it also. Next slide, Ritika. So these are the elevations and sections of the B block. Next slide, Ritika. Yes, so C block is somewhat similar to the B block. Uh, as we said earlier, there are 2 staircases and 1 lift for the C1 block, and same with the C2 block. We can see the photo of it here. Yes, over to Kunal.
Yes. D block. This is we can see the D block is a major block on the side compared to the others. This is only block where we can see the different types of tenements like 1 BHK, 2 BHK, and 2 BHK larger. Another reason for a unique block for the D block is it includes shopping complexes facing northeast direction, which is close to the service road. And the basement of area of this block majorly covered by the parking area, shopping complexes, a meter room, and storeroom. This is the G+7 floor structure. There are 13 tenements per floor. It means total 91 tenements in block. 13 tenements distributed as a 3 1 BHK, 7 2 BHK, and 3 2 BHK larger. That includes study area. In these blocks, there are 2 dogleg staircase and 2 lifts. One leads to the left part of the block and another leads to the right portion of the block. Uh, okay, next slide. This is the, here we can see the front elevation of the D block and the section A dash through the staircase and toilets. Basement height of this block is different from other blocks, which is 3.3 meter due to shopping complex heights. Next slide. Now I am going to explain about the Central Park, vegetation and services. Here we can see the Central Park is located in between A and C block. It has 2 entries, one from the west side, which is easily approachable from the A and B block, and another entry from north side, which is easily approachable from the C and D block. The total area of this park is 1,161 square meter, which is 10% of the total plot area. On right upper corner of the park, there is a clubhouse also. This park accommodate the needs of different age groups like kids and senior citizens. For kids, there are multiple installations like seesaw, swings, and sliders are there. For adults, there are sittings and clubhouse for the indoor games and gymming. Here we can see the photos of the installations and sitting space and clubhouse. Next slide, Ritik. Vegetation. There were different types of plants and trees were there, but the majorly found are gulmore tree, chapa trees, bougainvillea trees, and cardiline plants. All they are observed majorly in the central park and the peripheral boundaries of the plot. Next slide. Here we can see the services which provided on the site. All the services and devices related to the power supply are placed between the central park and the future expansion land. Fire services are provided through the site and in staircase. And plumbing pipes. Plumbing pipes on majorly the plumbing pipes we try to hide which are the coming on the front elevation with the help of ducts, and they are covered with the mesh. And those pipes which are on the back elevation are kept exposed. Yes, done. Thank you, ma'am. And next part, the inferences explain part.
Yes, so ma'am, these are the some of the points which we can uh, take from this case study to incorporate in our design. So in majorly in this project, they only catered front elevations and like they try to hide the front the pipelines which are coming in the front elevations only. On the other sides, they kept it exposed, maybe to save the cost. Then there is no four-wheeler parking. Uh, Four-wheeler visitors parking provided there. Then looking at the number of tenements, the clubhouse which they have provided seems to be very small. Then they have provided this electrical services part near the central park, which can be dangerous for the kids playing there, and there could be a miss happening. Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. A nice presentation indeed, I must say. Good presentation. And you tried to cover almost all aspects of mass housing, incremental housing, we can say. So now the thing is, what considerations you are going to take forward in your design. You have seen this case study, you have analyzed it on various points, but how much do you carry it forward in your own design is the basic thing that will interest us while we are scrutinizing your design.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Javdekar sir.
Yes, very nice presentation. But as I have already discussed this point regarding Aranya housing with you, Ritika, with your
Yes, sir.
team members. Yes. So it is basically a social and mass housing project, and the basic purpose of the entire Aranya housing was different. So when the purpose differs, then automatically the design concept also differs. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yes. So So the study which you have done regarding Aranya housing is basically for low-rise development. And here we are supposed to study the apartment buildings, its character, what are the important aspects to be considered when we design any group housing project considering the apartment buildings. That is very much required. And for that, you have already taken care by selecting two more projects. One is in Aurangabad itself and another is at Pune. So very nice presentation. What are the important takeaway points from the Aranya that you have decided now? What are the takeaway points? Not regarding the design of a particular tenement, because it is only for low cost housing. Okay, it is only for EWS, LIG, and to some extent MIG.
Yes,
Of
sir.
course, there are certain tenements, there is certain percentage of tenements provided for even higher MIG and HIG also. But what is important?
Yes, sir. So
So you will have to
basically,
focus. Yes,
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 sir.
please.
Sorry, sir. So yes, after
Bol, bol,
you
bol.
finished, I will continue, sir.
You please start. No problem.
Yes, sir. Okay, okay. So basically, as you said, what are the key points we can take for designing? So, especially I liked about that. Basically, in last few semester, uh, we are getting the projects, but not in this much mass quantity, right? So basically, the major important I would like to opt is a service part, and also the arrangement of the, we can say, the tenements and sectors we are planning for. So
Okay,
yes, sir.
that means is it a zoning part?
Yes, zoning and also the settlements, where to keep what, like the exact location for desirable locations for different types of spaces as per the interaction, we can say, or anything.
Okay, do you mean community public spaces,
Yes, sir.
interaction spaces? So those are the community public spaces, how they have planned in Aranya housing. That is important. Okay. Then you have also said regarding the concept of VV Doshi sir, the 6 parameters which have been considered. एक गप्पा बसा, please. Hello. Yes.
Yes,
So the
sir. It was like vitality.
parameters regarding, yes, exactly. Yeah, you are on the slide itself. Now, how you are going to study these 6 concepts, the 6 parameters of the concept? That is important. Okay, and I think it is very much important and necessary to study these 6 points by everybody, each and every group. Rather, each and every student should should study these 6 points to develop the concept. What is vitality? What is imageability, equity, efficiency, flexibility, and feasibility? So all these 6 points are very important when you design not only housing project, even if you design any project. So these points are very important. Okay. So I would like to study everybody these points in detail so that you can develop your own concept. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Just a minute. Huh. Then regarding second project, you have studied a project at Pune. Which was that project?
Vilas Yashwin Anand.
Yes, exactly. Has it been specifically designed for LIC people?
No, but they provide like shelters to them, like in a kind of a discount man. But there, that's like a tie-up thing.
Okay. So I just wanted to know whether it has been designed for a specific group or not.
No, sir, no. It's for
Okay.
all.
So it's for all. Okay, no problem. So what are the important aspects you have studied regarding apartments in your next this case study and the case study in Aurangabad? That is important.
Yes,
So
sir.
particularly in Pune, the planning was actually designed in such a way that it has been carried out by the shape and size of the site. Have you observed this thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Like
sir.
longitudinally, they are placed everything.
Yes, exactly. Why it has happened?
Yeah, because of the side span.
Yes, exactly. So the size and shape of the site also guides you towards planning. That
Yes,
is
sir.
also one of the important criteria. So whenever you go for your project, you must see this, what is the size and what is the shape of that particular. So that part you will have to cover when you do site analysis of your project. The architect who has designed that particular project must have seen this, and then accordingly he must have started conceptualizing the entire project. So was it possible for him to design it in another way? So he might have tried with that exercise,
Hmm.
and then finally he thought that this elongated planning that is possible, that is the only planning which is possible on this site. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so these are
Yes,
the
sir.
inferences. Actually, these are some of the. This is nothing but an analysis. These are the inferences which you have to draw and which you have to take as a takeaway point from this project, because the entire concept gets restricted when you have this sort of a land. Then you have said, you have not said many things about parking spaces in this particular. How many parking spaces have been provided? In a case study or virtual case study at Aurangabad, you said that there was only one parking space provided to one family. Is it really sufficient? Then there was no visitors parking. Visitors were supposed to park their vehicles beyond the not on the site itself. They have provided it along roadside, outside the entire project area. Is it really good? Is it really desirable? Because you are creating problems to, and rather you are generating problems to various other aspects. Because suppose there are 100 visitors, those who are visiting the entire project area at a time, then what will happen? Is it really possible to park their vehicles on a road or off the road? So it may generate another problems to the traffic which is on the road itself. So one should take care of this thing and should avoid such type of planning as far as possible. Then you have not analyzed the entire project in terms of the percentages of different components of the amenity plot which has been provided in your second case study. That is also very much important. So how much amenity space basically is required to be reserved or to be allocated to the entire for the entire project, that you will have to calculate. So this sort of analysis needs to be done.
Yes, sir.
In almost all the three case studies, the area statement is very much important. The area provided under roads, area provided for the open spaces, that that is required to be calculated, required to be analyzed. Okay, according to the norms, according to the standards, you have to provide some 10% of mandatory open space. But whether it is really sufficient, do you require some more area to be provided in a project area? So that also needs to be given consideration when you analyze any project. One more important aspect. Have you studied or have you calculated the density of the entire project with relation to the area which is available for the project, which has been given for that project? Now, the area of the virtual case study which you have done is only 2.5 acres, and the number of tenements are how many number of tenements are there?
Sir,
I think it is more
231.
than, yes, it is more than 200. So what is the density? So that density also you have to calculate. By the way, do you know the term means what is density? Can anybody tell me what is density?
Maybe number
Number
of
of
people.
number of people residing in one.
Yes,
That is the
exactly. That is, yes. You have rightly said. It is a population density. There is one more term given in the bylaws, that is tenement density. That is number of tenements in an area, in a unit area. 1 hectare, how many tenements are there? They have provided, and how much is permissible. So our UDCPR also says something about the density pattern, and particularly this density is being considered for the projects developed by builders, developed by developers, and the government projects. Because in both of them, they are concerned with the areas, the land which is having, and the economical part, whether the project is feasible or not. Suppose you provide less number of tenements, that means you are catering the less number of tenements or the less number of people in the society. And if you provide maximum number of tenements, then you are catering more people in the society. So government also wants to provide accommodation to many number of people in the society, and builders, of course, he has to generate the income, he has to generate profit from the project which he is preparing. So the density pattern is also very important, which is the permissible density has already been given in the UDCPR that you will have to study, and you have to calculate the density also. At the same time, you have to do calculations regarding FSI, particularly in the third project. In first project, it may not be necessary because that is a low-rise development project, but still it carries weightage. It is very important to calculate the FSI for that project also. And for remaining two projects, apartment-based projects, the FSI calculations are very, very important. Because the developer or builder, he will never lose any square centimeter of area. Not only square centimeter, he will think of square millimeter of area, because he sells the land, he sells the area, and his planning is more profit oriented. Therefore, this FSI calculations you must calculate, you must analyze how much FSI has been provided, because finally you will have to consider the FSI for your project also. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these calculations you will have to do, you will have to analyze all the projects, and accordingly you will have to think of your project when you conceptualize it. Starting from the conceptual stage only, you will have to calculate these things. So area calculations becomes a very important part of your project when we start planning of the project. Then the specific comments on the individual planning, that is also required. I think you have done it to some extent. The efficiency of a particular tenement, that is also very important. That is in terms of efficiency, in terms of light and ventilation. And one more important aspect, in the third project, the block D block, there are so many negative spaces which I have observed in the entire plan. Can you go through that plan?
Yes,
Can you
sir.
show that slide once again? Yes. Now, where are the negative spaces? There are so many negative spaces which have been created. Then there are certain points where you will have to be very specific. You will have to study it in detail, and you have to explain it to the contractor also how to construct it. Particularly when two buildings have been joined at one place, at two places actually, it becomes very difficult to maintain these lands, the negative spaces which are being created on the site. Because after occupancy, nobody looks after that. Nobody takes care of those such spaces. And it becomes very difficult to manage and to maintain such negative spaces in the entire project. Sometimes if the beneficiaries are from the lower income group, then they do not take care of that land and it becomes a dumping yard. So they have to spend more amount on the management and maintenance of the entire building. So land management and its maintenance is also very important, and it is a duty of an architect to design the spaces in such a way that you have minimum maintenance cost, you have minimum management to be done for that.
Sir,
Okay.
hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, actually,
You are not audible.
Hello, sir.
Yes. हाँ बोल.
वो एक्चुअली प्लान पहले जैसा लीनियर ही था, बट वो बाद में मतलब सर्विस रोड उस साइड के थ्रू गया था, तो इसलिए बाद में प्लान चेंज होगा, मतलब डी ब्लॉक राइट साइड वाला ब्लॉक इंक्लाइंड हो गया ना, तो उसकी वजह से मतलब ज्यादा नेगेटिव स्पेसेस वगैरह आए थे.
Exactly. But you have to take care of this thing also.
Hello, sir. I'm audible.
Yes. Yes,
sir,
yes, you are
actually,
audible.
सर डी ब्लॉक का प्लान उन्होंने पहले प्रपोज किया था, तो इट वाज सिमिलर टू द सी ब्लॉक, लाइक ऑल द ब्लॉक्स वे सेम, बट व्हेन दे रियलाइज कि वहां पे कमर्शियल कॉम्प्लेक्स देने का उनको मतलब पॉइंट है, वहां पे अपॉर्चुनिटी है, सो बिकॉज ऑफ विच उन्होंने वो रोटेट कर दिया.
Yes, ठीक है, no problem. It is for their benefit they have done it. But whether it is desirable or not, we are just studying the entire plan, because this is a case study and you must study each and every point, each and every aspect of the planning. Okay, and I want your specific comments on this, on such points. That is why I am explaining this.
Yes, sir.
So I just want to know whether it is desirable or not. So this sort of analysis is basically expected from all of you. Okay, otherwise the entire presentation is really nice. Very good attempt. I must congratulate you all and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.